It's been a few weeks since I brought home a few new plants from my nursery trip, and now that they've had some time to settle in, I've started to notice a few things that I am not loving. Some of the substrates are staying a little too moist in between waterings, and a few of the plants are starting to show me that they might need a little bit of a change. Hi there, I'm Arizona Flora. So today I thought we'd get caught up on some plant repots that have been brought to my attention. I do have some nursery plants that are finally ready to get switched out of the setup I bought them in, and a few other plants I've added to the list. Before we get started though, grab a cozy drink and hang out with me while we tend to some plants. For today's video, I'm going for a very casual, just a laid back little chatting session while we repot more plants that I need to get to. I already have everything set up. My pots are out, my soil's next to me. I already have my buckets that I need to use. I wanted to start with my Anthurium with no ID because this one is showing very prominent signs that it needs to get repotted. It is obviously root bound, but also just some yellowing, and this newest leaf is kind of small. I'm just going to start with this one. I think it's going to be very simple and easy. I watered plants on Saturday. Today's Monday, so hopefully a lot of these substrates are still kind of moist, because it's just easier to repot, in my opinion, when they're moist and wet. Growing this Anthurium has gone a lot better than I anticipated because I'm new to the Anthurium game. I didn't really know what to expect. I thought it would have been a more stressful experience, but I've gotten down my watering routine and I've given it a lot of light. I can't really go too wrong from there. I'm gonna upsize it to this size pot, or let's see. Yeah, I think that's perfect. All of my plants today are gonna be getting my lava rock mix, and then there's one plant that I'm gonna use my Molly's Aeroid mix. I ended up just mixing some new soil with the old soil so that the moisture is kind of evenly dispersed throughout the whole soil mix. I've been meaning to repot this plant for a while now. I didn't know how root bound Anthuriums liked getting, and I definitely waited too long. I should have probably repotted this during my last repot session. This plant also is drying out a lot quicker than I can keep up with keeping it moist. I really do need to try and ID this plant. I feel like it still needs to mature before I can really see what type of Anthurium this is. For those of you who don't know, I had bought off of an Etsy shop an Anthurium queen, but was sent this Anthurium, and when I talked to the Etsy shop about it, they just said that the supplier mislabeled some plants, but they never really told me the plant that they ended up sending me, and I got sent the correct plant afterwards. But yeah, I still haven't really been able to identify this plant. I haven't also tried since the whole mix-up. Every time I see new growth on this plant, I do get really excited. I'm at the point where all of these leaves on the plant I've grown here in my environment. Having no experience in this being my first Anthurium, I thought it was going to be a lot more finicky. It's been really rewarding growing this plant. I'm really proud of it. This is its repot though, and that was very simple, very quick. I'm going to move on. This next plant is super root bound, and it is my Satin Pothos. Here are all the roots. I noticed with this plant that the growth was getting really small and it was just starting to get super leggy. Even though I just repotted it, I believe with you guys as well, I put some propagations in here and it's already ready for an upsize. I've noticed something similar with my Marble Queen Pothos. We just repotted it last month and I was doing rounds checking on all of the plants, and the Marble Queen Pothos is going to need a repot soon, even though last month we just repotted it. I'm excited because tomorrow is Blossom's 1-year adoption anniversary, and I want to do something special for her. I coincidentally ended up getting a message from the person that I got her from. It was a coworker that I used to work with, and she was just checking in, seeing how she was, trying to coordinate a little puppy play date with her because she ended up keeping one of Blossom's sisters too. The story of how Blossom came to be was this person, my coworker, my ex-coworker, she had posted in our work group chat about puppies and her sister's dog having puppies and if anyone wanted a puppy. And so I had already been wanting a dog for a while, and I was already going to get a dog from another coworker because she couldn't take care of it anymore. But my husband said that that dog was too big for our house, which was very fair, and I ended up having to pass on that dog. But when I saw this litter of puppies, like just born, I was like, I need one of these puppies, and I got a yes. And so I ended up getting Blossom for free from this person, and I've been so blessed ever since. I love her so much. I thought it was funny because one day at work when we were talking about the puppies and how we were excited for them to finally be ready to be separated from their mom, I think I got Blossom around maybe 14 weeks, between 12 and 14 weeks was when I had gotten her. And my coworker was like, oh, I'm gonna name mine Cherry Blossom. And I was like, that's so funny, I was gonna name mine Blossom. And so her sister's name is Cherry and her name is Blossom. And I think her going and seeing her sister after me adopting her would be really fun to see how the other puppy looks too. I guess the coworker's sister had gone out of the country to go visit her husband and left her dog. It was a French bulldog with a dog sitter, and didn't keep her separated from the 4 other male dogs that was there, and ended up getting pregnant and having puppies. But the thing was, we didn't know what breed she was going to be even when we were in the process of adopting her, because like it could have been a different dad. So she could have been either half French bulldog, half Pomeranian, half French bulldog, half Havanesin. I know I'm not saying it right. Or full French bulldog, or half French bulldog and half beagle, which is what she is. And I'm really glad because those other mixes are really hairy, and I didn't want to have like a long-haired dog. I mean, she already sheds like crazy around the house. I can't keep up with it. There's no way to keep up with it. It's just a part of being a dog mom. The thing with Blossom is like you can't get her toys because she will demolish them immediately. On her 6-month birthday, we went and bought a bunch of toys from PetSmart, and they were all ran through within the same day. And the only thing that she's been able to not destroy is an actual like chew bone that has like a peanut butter filling in it, and she's had it for a few months now. Everything else, she just it's gone like that. I got her like a little lammy when we first got her. There was like I had like a little birthday lamb, and instantly tore the hat off. I was so sad because it was so cute seeing her play with it. Just puppy things. Here is the Satin Pothos, nice and repotted. I'm also going to prune off probably a lot of the smaller leggy growth from it. Going and adding these hook extensions, I'm still like obsessed with how it looks. Since adding these hook extensions, I've noticed how leggy this plant has actually gotten and how small some of this growth actually is. Now that we're talking about dogs, I've been wanting a second dog for a while now, and I keep making jokes to my husband about it, and he is just vetoing it. He's like, no, we don't have space for a second dog. Like, we joke around like Blossom was already supposed to be a small dog, and she's like medium. She's a medium size. She's probably 35 pounds now. But the second dog that I want to get is an Italian Greyhound, which they're just the silliest looking dogs ever. But I think I just really love silly looking dogs, because when Blossom hits you with her underbite, because she has mad underbite, or when she like smiles and she has like her cheeks up, it's the silliest thing ever. And I just love a dog that can make me laugh. And I've been following some on Facebook, and they're so cute and funny, especially when they're all dressed up. I looked into it, and there's a breeder in Phoenix here in Arizona, and it was $2,300 for a puppy, and I don't have puppy money like that. I tried to make the argument with my husband, like, oh, well, if we got Blossom for free, that means like we have like money that we would have spent on her on our first dog, we can then use that for our second dog, like girl math. And he was like, no, we're not doing that. But I think if I just keep asking for a second dog over and over again, and like she needs someone to socialize with, maybe he'll cave. I doubt my husband will cave in though, because we really do need a bigger place. I am not holding back. I am pruning away right now. I didn't think this was probably the most I've pruned a plant in a minute. No, that's a lie, because I pruned the prayer plant back a lot a few weeks ago. I just didn't realize how many shoots I had going on this plant. I've definitely like chopped and propped this plant within the last year or so of having it. I'm done pruning. I'm shocked on how much I actually went through. I tried to keep a lot of just the bigger leaves and cut off any vines that had big gaps. I'll show you guys what I ended up cutting off real quick. A lot of leggy, small, gapped growth. This one I pulled out of the soil completely because these leaves at the top were yellowing, and then just naked vine. I am back with my Hoya Sunrise that I wanted to get repotted. This is one of the plants I got at the nursery. I got this at Belle. The reason I really wanted to get this repotted is because I personally don't like when I see other plants growing in the pot with my plant. I know some of them like aren't competing with the plant at all when it comes to stuff like water and resources and whatnot, but I don't know, I just don't like the look of it. The way the soil rolled scared me. I thought it was a bug because what is that? Ew. There's so a spider living in this. Holy guacamole, I'm scared. It's so tiny, but I'm like gonna lose my mind. Okay. I knew there was a spider living over there too. So what I'm gonna do is put my gloves on and stand up because I am a baby when it comes to bugs. I just don't like touching them and they scare me. I know spiders are good for plants, like in regards to eating other pests, like they don't harm the plant at all, but I am still like scared of them. When I was babysitting my siblings and I was helping them clean and we found a spider in their room, my 7-year-old brother went and killed the spider. Like, I couldn't even do it. I mean, he wanted to be fair, but still, I don't even know where it went. Okay, I'm just gonna put the soil I'm not using in this spooky Home Depot bucket because my husband got it for me and he thought that I would have really loved it. And I was like, okay, I can use that. I can do something with that. Well, spooky soil mix goes into spooky bucket because I'm terrified right now. I saw the spider. I really don't know where it went though. It's gone. I see it. He's on the plant. Unless there's multiple. Oh my gosh, there's like multiple spiders. There's multiple spiders. My heart is racing. What the heck? How are there spiders living in this plant? How? I'm like baffled. I'm baffled right now. I'm fighting for my life. My heart is racing. I'm shaking. I see them crawling throughout the soil right now. My husband is arachnophobic, and which I don't believe him because he goes to work and he deals with big spiders like black widows that eat lizards like when he goes out to farms and stuff. And if he were truly arachnophobic, like that would be debilitating. At least like I make fun of him for it, for not actually being arachnophobic, but he says it's just in the face. Like you look at the face and that's what he gets scared of. For me, I just don't like the feeling of crawling on me like any bug. It's just like a sensory thing. The only reason I'm getting stressed out about this is because I know this is a perfect segue into my spider mite issue. My Monstera Adansonii, the Swiss cheese, I looked at it the other day and I was like, oh wow, there's webbing on the leaf, and then there was like a big white fluffy thing on the leaf, and I was like, husband, what is that? And he's like, that's a spider mite. And he took the plant, didn't even consult me. He like chopped up all the leaves, and I have the mother plant on the windowsill kind of isolation. I was gonna repot that plant in this video, but because it had spider mites, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with it right now. But now that I'm repotting the spider infested Hoya Sunrise, I also just don't want to deal with any more bugs. I was gonna deal with one buggy plant because I also have another plant that has like mold, and now this is just turning into a very crazy, chaotic repot. I'm gonna maybe rinse the root ball off in some water, and I'm just gonna, as quickly as possible, like dump this soil and then go dump it outside. So I'm gonna do that. BRB. That was insane. I'm obviously being a big baby about this, but I've never repotted a plant before and had multiple spiders crawling around in the soil. Thinking about it, I did get this plant in San Diego, and I didn't even talk about the hotel that we stayed at. It was like an extended stay hotel because it was just something that we could afford. It wasn't the best hotel room, I'll just say that. And side note, sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm still trying to collect myself. These roots, I thought it was gonna be a way bigger root ball. Like I knew I wasn't gonna upsize, but I didn't think I was gonna be downsizing. So that's interesting. I'm also worried that I don't know how spiders live. I don't know how they nest or go about nesting and laying eggs and stuff, but I swear, if I wake up one day and there are just tons of baby spiders running around everywhere, I will be very scared for my life. But at the same time, I might not have a spider mite issue. But at the same time, if I still have a spider mite issue, like I'm gonna be mad. Like you're living here rent free and you're not doing anything about it. Like do something, like eat these spider mites. Anyways, so I'm thinking the spiders may have came from when, actually that makes so much sense because it was the Hoya Sunrise, the Monstera Adansonii, and the Wayetii Variegated. I had those all next to the window. That's what I've been trying to get at, is the window was broken, it didn't shut all the way, and I think there was a crack in it. And when we left to go to the second nursery the next morning, I moved the plants next to the window to get light. I was like, these are variegated, they need to get hecka light. And when we came back, I was upset because they were like covered in ants. And so I don't know if there were any other bugs that may have tagged along, like spider mites or spiders. I already know though I had spider mites on like a few other plants. Like it's just been, I'll have it on one plant, I'll take care of it, I end up getting rid of it, to be honest, and then they pop up on another plant like a few months later. Or spiders, like the spot that I have this plant in, there's been a spider living in that area, but now there's tiny baby spider. I've never seen the spider, I've just seen its web. I thought it was just one spider, I didn't think there were going to be multiple, so, which is I've repotted all the other plants in that area. I've repotted all the plants over there. This was the only one that had spiders in it. I don't know. I'm not a detective. I don't get paid to solve crimes like invading a soil root ball. My gloves are now outside drying because I had them in the sink with me. I had them on when I was trying to go through and like clean off the root ball, and I didn't want spiders on me, and I'm so glad I had them on because I lifted my glove up and there's just a baby spider dangling. I'm gonna go shower this plant down. I tried using a paper towel, it didn't work, but this is the Hoya Sunrise repotted, hopefully spider free, and I'm gonna move on to the next plant. I guess I'll do the one you can see peeking out, which is my Anthurium Magnificum. I've noticed that this plant's soil substrate has been staying really moist. After watering this plant a few times, I definitely was worried about root rot and have been wanting to repot it for a while now. Let's see. Oh, it's actually super root bound. Oh my, okay. That makes me really, really happy. Look it. I'm so happy. This makes up for the Hoya Sunrise, 100%. Okay, wow. My in-laws are in town. Well, my father-in-law is in town and his parents. So I've spent my weekend hanging out with family. They live like 12 hours away in the Bay Area, and I love going and visiting them over in California. And there's just so much to do, and it's just a completely different environment and atmosphere and just culture and different food, the seafood right there next to the water. So good. I love going and visiting them. But they're here visiting me this time, and I think next month there's a funeral actually that we're gonna go to, which is in that area, because my father-in-law's, I think it was his uncle that he was named after, passed away recently. So we're gonna make a trip out of it and go to the funeral. I'm gonna go meet more family. Look at how, I don't know, like, it's just giving soggy. It's just so soggy. It's coming out though really nicely. I'm really loving this root system. I do love big chunky roots because then I can just kind of run my fingers through them and it's not a problem. Now is the fun part. I can't believe this was living in here. It like won't even fit in this container anymore. I think I'm gonna go up this size if I can get one out from the stack. Wait, I knew there was a second one. That was a nursery pot I cut to fit a specific cover pot. No, I feel like this is still too small. I think I want to do this big up. I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I also am gonna do the Molly's Aeroid mix. How much do I have left? Like a third of a, no, 2/3 of a bag. So maybe I'll put like a thin layer at the bottom. The Anthurium Queen I have and now the Magnificum are both in the Molly's Aeroid mix because I'm just experimenting, honestly. And I typically don't like to use bark because it stays moist and I feel like that can lead to like a gnat problem. In the past when I was putting bark into my soil mixes, I wasn't a fan of it. So this has bark in it. I'm 50-50. I've been using it. I'm kind of just putting some plants in this soil mix to see how I like, just to go through the bag if it's something that I feel like is a crazy difference or not for the price. The Anthurium Magnificum is repotted. I'm super happy to get it switched over. I was starting to worry about this plant, We are seeing some yellowing, and obviously this new leaf went downhill as soon as I bought it. I just hope that I get new growth soon and that this repot doesn't stress it out too much. This is the biggest Anthurium in my collection, so if it can like spit out a new big leaf soon, that would be amazing. I'm gonna reach over and grab my Philodendron Florida Ghost. I don't know why I blinked for a second. I've been also hating the substrate that this is in. I'm really happy with this plant. I am especially loving this new leaf right here. Just so gorgeous. So gorgeous. I do have like some new leaves that are just completely white and dying off fast. This needs to get switched over to a chunkier soil mix 100%. It is just staying too moist. I have to like dig this plant out. It's just straight chunk. Okay, I want to see some roots. I'm really hoping to plan a planty trip soon, whether it's going to another nursery or if it's going and actually taking you guys along with me. Quick root check. I'm gonna pause on that thought. Not bad. They're a lot thinner than I thought they were gonna be, actually, for a philodendron. Wow, that's so interesting. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I have been craving another trip, like go nursery shopping again and get more plants, or if I want to go like thrifting or antiquing again, but this time I'll take you guys along with me. I think that would be fun. I honestly really enjoyed showing you guys the plant nurseries, and making that video was a lot of fun, and I want to do something similar again soon. So far, I've seen no buggies in this plant. That makes me happy. I was really worried because this is a very moist and like moisture holding substrate, that there are gonna be either bugs or some like funky stuff in here, but we're no, there was a gnat. I spoke too soon. I threw that so quick. I'm sorry. Why was he just chilling there too? He was just like sitting there on the plant. I can't say this enough. I really don't like what the nurseries pot their stuff up in. I don't enjoy repotting post-purchase plants. I really don't. That's like anywhere too, like even local places, I don't like what they plant their stuff in. I mean, I have my preference. I have my own mix that I like to plant my stuff in, my plant babies. What I don't like about this plant is how when a leaf dies, or like a part of the leaf, I will just mush instantly. I'll go through and I'll pick it out, the mushy plant parts, and then there's just more mushy plant stuff. I have to show you guys because I was rinsing the roots off in the sink. They kept the plant like in this plug starter wrap, and it's just, I'm gonna have to go clean this up. 2 plants. Plant glitch. I thought I bought 1 plant, but I bought 2. So I did my best to get these roots cleaned off. The thing with peat moss that you guys know that I don't like is I don't like how it sticks to the roots, so I kind of soaked it, went through, cleaned off the roots as much as possible, probably a little too much. This plant's gonna be stressed out for a while. I feel like it already, well, it's just the wider leaves, they feel limp. I think I'm gonna do, no, too big. What's smaller than this? I'm gonna go with this size. I would rather it dry out, and I know that I can keep up with watering. I trust myself. So I'm gonna do a smaller size pot because I really don't want to deal with like root rot. No. Thankfully, there was just one random gnat chilling on this plant. He was kind of just sitting there looking at me while I was like taking the peat moss off of it. So that's why I went and soaked it. I didn't want to deal with any more gnats coming and hanging out. I already had to deal with spiders, now gnats. I have another pest coming up soon too. I'm happy there was a second plant in here because that means that genetically we'll get to see some different variegation. Because I was worried buying this plant actually when I was going through and picking it out, that I wanted to make sure I didn't get one that like reverted. I don't know if Florida ghosts revert, but like they do, like they can send out, I think, just white leaf after white leaf, and at that point the plant's not really growing because the white leaves, they die off really quickly. I wanted to make sure I got a plant that had a lot of green and wasn't just a lot of new white growth. Ooh. I just noticed how the stems are kind of bumpy. They got some bump to them. That's interesting. Wow. Out of all the plants I've repotted so far, I think this one's gonna be on the top of the list for just being the most dramatic because of just how I had to go and separate both plants, go through and really clean off the root system. This reacts dramatically and is not showing the best signs tomorrow. I'm not gonna blame it. I'm not gonna be upset. Like, I need to, again, trust the process. I'm gonna go water this plant though, and we'll move on to the next one. My Hoya Wayetii Variegated is going to be the next plant that we repot. I'm gonna guess that this plant is root bound. One thing I did want to share before we get started is that I'm finally seeing new growth on it. We have a whole new shoot with some leaves right there, which is just super cute and refreshing to see because since I've had this plant, I feel like I've just seen nothing but damaged leaves that I'm kind of just taking off or dried out tips of vines. I'm actually happy to see that this plant is growing. Here are the roots. Not super crazy. I feel like I could still keep it in the same size pot and it'd be fine. And I actually don't mind this mix that it's in. The sun is now on this side of the house, so all the plants now are giving their golden hour look. I still can't believe that this plant, when I was at Belle, they only had a few and they were hanging up in between the aisles. It took me a while to notice it, and as soon as I walked underneath one, I was like, oh, I'm instantly adding that to the cart. I'm really happy to see that the roots are looking good. We've done 2 plants from each nursery now, and I think so far I prefer the way Belle has their plants potted up. Oh, I see even more little tiny growth kind of everywhere. It's so tiny. It's really cute. I still can't get over how good of a find this was. Like, finding it the first day and seeing that and getting it for only $25 and then seeing the following day one for $85 was such a steal. So we have multiple kind of cuttings. I don't think I really want to separate them too much. I'm gonna stop right here because I really don't mind this substrate, like this mix at all. I really like it actually, so I'm not gonna stress too much about cleaning the roots off. I broke it off as much as I could. And now I think for pot size, I'm gonna go up just a little bit. This one's just kind of taller, but I think it's the same amount of width. And I want to use my lava rock mix for this one. I'm gonna have to separate these. Here's one. There's so many little plants in here. Oh, I think this is my favorite cutting out of all of them because this one is so pinky. I've been looking at these leaves. I'm just gonna try to like hold them all within the same height and repot from there. I've never had to hold so many like individual started plants. I might just kind of do one side and then come back and then do another side. Because the problem is these leaves, I love them, they're beautiful, but they are super long and are kind of getting caught in the root ball or getting buried and stuff. Maybe I'll divide it by 2. A lot of these stems had kind of laid sideways, so it looked like it was kind of rooting into the soil, but then also shooting leaves out. I took some leaves off so we can actually make sure we're not burying leaves. This is actually going quite well. I was worried at first. It can get very overwhelming when there's so many different cuttings. Like my Hoya bilbota, when I had to repot that after I bought it, because it was such a big trailing plant, it was just moving all different vines everywhere, trying to get in there, trying to pot each cutting up and making sure you're not burying leaves, but also getting the roots in there. I think I did a pretty good job with this one. I did my best trying to kind of evenly disperse in the cuttings throughout the pot. I kind of just did it in 3 different sections where I took cuttings and potted it in instead of trying to hold them all together at once and do it. Here's my Hoya Wayetii I variegated repotted. I think this is gonna be one of my favorite plants. No, it is one of my favorite plants. This plant is very beautiful. I enjoyed actually getting to go through all the different cuttings and looking at all the leaves, and I'm super happy I was able to check out the root system and that everything is looking good and healthy as well. Because the new growth was kind of slow, I was worried that there might have been something wrong with the plant, like maybe a pest issue or maybe like the substrate, but no, I'm very happy that this plant is doing good and that we were able to give it some attention. I was able to spend some one-on-one time with it. I love that it's already trailing, and hopefully soon I can get it in a spot where it can actually trail down more than just the little lift that I have it on the Vistro shelf. Up next, we're gonna do my Hoya Belle, which is going to be the last plant from Anderson La Costa, that's what it was. I'm gonna start by taking off the hanger, which I don't even know why I left it on. I think I liked that they put a heart next to the Hoya Belle on the name, unlike all the other plants. This plant, I really want to see its root system because I've noticed that some of the tips are yellowing, and it might be because it's getting too much sun too right here. I normally just keep it on a plate in front of the window because I don't have a spot for it. There aren't as many roots on this plant as there was on the, what the heck is that? Hang on. I don't know what that little circle thing is. That's kind of silly. Oh, it's from the bottom of the pot. This plant I feel like was really moist when I bought it. This is actually completely dry though. This whole top layer, at least this top inch. I think this is gonna be another situation where I end up having to hold individual cuttings and kind of repot it back in strategically. Oh wow, this is like a bunch of little cuttings. Maybe that's why some cuttings look better than others. I might just go through at that point. I might just go through and like, this has like one little root. Ooh, I like this one split. And now we have another vine here too. That's cool. I really do want this Hoya specifically to bloom. I've heard that their blooms are really cute and pretty, and I think they're one of the ones that smell better. Fingers crossed that by next year, my Hoya Belle is blooming for me. Yeah, that looks dead. I feel like some of these like little ones, I might be able to stick in some water and see how it does. I mean, like these leaves look fine. I'm shocked on how small these root systems actually are though. Like for a majority of them, there's not too many super well grown roots right now. That's crazy. Like that's a complete stem that's just died and has no root. So that makes sense on why some of the leaves were just falling off and were yellow. because this was just a culmination of just different cuttings all potted up in different stages of growing. Like some of them have pretty good amount of roots while others don't have any, and we're just kind of stuck in there. So I think I've gone through enough. I'm gonna take the gloves off because they're kind of bulky and it's hard to hold. I don't even know what size pot to do because I don't really know how much root altogether we're dealing with. I mean, if we started with this size, maybe I'll just start here because I took some out. This is half of the cuttings and I could put the other half on this side. This might be more than half the cuttings. I think this size pot is actually gonna work pretty well. The other day I was editing in the bedroom and my husband had came home and had asked me, hey, did you want me to take care of the begonia, the wax begonia? And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, oh, it's all on the floor. And I didn't realize that probably for like 30 minutes the wax begonia had fallen off the counter in the kitchen and the whole pot just dumped out. I was like, yeah, that would be great. Just gonna shove as much root as I can in here. This is going really well. I know I just made soil mix, but I'm gonna have to reorder some supplies and make another batch because of how often I'm having to repot plants. I really didn't mean for this next video to be a repot. Like I had some other ideas in mind, but I just ended up choosing to do a repot because it's what my collection needed in the moment. I feel like I do one batch of plants and I repot them, and then a few weeks later, like another batch of plants are ready to get repotted, which I guess is better than having to repot 75 plants all at once. I still think it's insane that I'm at 75 plants. Another Hoya with a lot of different cuttings done. That was kind of tedious. This one had a lot of cuttings with barely any roots. I'll probably propagate them and just see how I feel, if I want to pot them back in or not, or maybe I'll just give them to someone. But I think that knowing that there were just cuttings in there with roots that didn't even have like secondary roots kind of just in the pot makes me feel better about some of the yellowing in the limp leaves I was seeing, because I know that it wasn't me and my watering per se. I did keep a few cuttings that had smaller root systems in the pot, so I'll just have to keep an eye out. I forgot to say, I'm gonna end up leaving the last nursery plant for last because I need to take an extra step with it. But I'm going to move on to the Cordyline Fruticosa, and I need to show you guys what this plant is doing. So the Cordyline Fruticosa is actually pushing up against the bottom of the pot. And when I was watering, I asked my husband one day, like, did you go and put more soil on the top of the plant? And he was like, no. And then the other day he noticed the giant gap between the pot and the soil. So we're going to repot that. That's so insane. I want to rip it all apart, but I think I'm just going to kind of leave it and put it in a bigger size pot. I feel like it might even outgrow this sooner. I'm gonna do even bigger. Call me crazy. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this size. I'm gonna stick with the bigger size pot because this plant outgrew that other one like crazy, and I don't want to have to repot it so soon. This has been a very quick and simple repot, which I am thankful for. These leaves are just so beautiful. It keeps sending out new leaves like back to back. Since I started soaking this plant, like I water and then let it soak in the bowl full of water for like 5 minutes, it's taken off. I feel like the leaves have just been growing bigger and quicker, and obviously because since I started doing that, it outgrew that last pot crazy fast, and I wasn't even fertilizing it then, which is the crazy thing. I haven't even been fertilizing this plant. quick and easy repot just to get out of the way. I wanted to show you this plant because I just thought that was so silly. I love how plants can just be, you know, they just do their own thing. You don't expect the plant to be pushing itself out of the pot, but there you go. I scooted over my next plant. This is my Audrey Ficus. This is the one that lives right in front of the window. I have a second one that's kind of tucked over to the side more behind it. And I've noticed with this plant, there is some like yellow slimy mold kind of starting to form in here. So I'm going to completely like disregard this batch of soil and repot it and get it into a fresher, better situation. I follow a Facebook group where it's like SOS houseplants. It's not called that, I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically where people post about their houseplant problems, and this specific problem actually popped up today, which I thought was a coincidence. I haven't repotted this plant in a really long time, probably over a year, maybe 2. This is getting messy really quickly. I'm assuming maybe it's just a lack of airflow and too much moisture all in one is what I'd probably say is the verdict. I hate having to do this because the Audrey Ficuses have been very finicky in the past when repotting. This one just started to branch and I don't want it to go through a phase of regression. The mold had just started because I don't see it really after I like kind of scooped up the first layer. This root system is the craziest root system I've ever seen. I do enjoy repotting a tree. The plants I have potted in my lava rock mix, like this one, I use a bucket to collect the soil and I go through and I sift out the lava rock, and then I will bleach that and then rinse it really well to use again, so that I don't have to like buy more lava rock. Yeah, this whole bin is already a whole batch of soil I'm gonna have to sift through, and right now it's too hot outside, so I just have multiple batches of pre-used soil that I need to go through. When I bought this Audrey Ficus, it was just like the Florida Ghost, where it was 2 separate plants in one pot that I bought. I think it was either at Lowe's or Home Depot. I'm scraping the bottom of the bin. I think I just need to get more potting soil and lava rock, but I have so much peat moss and, well, maybe more perlite. So here is the Audrey Ficus repotted. I know I could have left it with the slimy yellow mold, at least from what I was seeing online. It doesn't harm the plant, but I just don't want anything that could spread to other plants and it being just a thing in my collection. I'm the type of person where as soon as I see something like that, like a fungal, bacterial pest, like I treat it as soon as possible because I don't want things to spread in my collection. I know with plant keeping, it's more about maintaining and you're never gonna not have those things in your collection. I'm gonna go check to make sure that the final plant is ready because I did have to spray it with neem oil. So I need to go make sure that the neem oil is dry. Here is my Monstera Adansonii that we had purchased at Belle on my last nursery trip. I ended up finding spider mites on this plant. I saw webbing the other night. I saw a whole spider mite on the leaf. Ended up spraying it with the 3-in-1 neem oil by, I think, garden experts. I'm gonna isolate it and keep it in my bedroom. Unless I move it out of the living areas, it's gonna be near a plant somehow. It's about dry. I don't feel comfortable taking it out of like the soil in my setup right now, so I'm gonna go do that outside. I ran into the same thing, like how with the other nursery plants there were some cuttings with barely any roots, and I think I'm gonna water prop like these 3 small ones just in case I lose the mother plant. So I have the mother plant. If we can just stay on top of the treatment, the neem oil treatment, which is going to be every 7 days, and a water prop, and then I have a bag of sphagnum moss with 1 leaf cutting. So we'll see. I'm really trying to keep this plant in my collection. Some plants I'm like, okay, it's fine, just get rid of it. Other plants I'm like, no, I want to do everything I can to treat it. Oh, because I didn't unpot it with you, it was root bound in its nursery pot, so it definitely needed a repot anyways. I've been taking my time repotting each plant, so now the sun is setting, which is probably a good thing because now the light isn't gonna directly hit the Monstera Adansonii with the neem oil on it, because that would suck if I had to do that. I'm probably gonna use the rest of the soil. I was so devastated finding out this had spider mites. So devastated. Belle actually has been like 2 for 2, like back to back. Both, like I've gotten a plant and then it's had a pest after a few weeks of bringing it home. But like I said earlier, pest is a part of plant keeping. It's just a part of the routine in treating it. Here is the Adansonii all repotted. I think the bigger pot was definitely the right way to go. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about the mother plant and just keeping up with the treatment. We'll just have to play it by ear. I'm gonna give it a month. If I do a few treatments and it's still persistent, or if I see a spider mite on another one of my plants, then I'm gonna start making some tough decisions. I originally didn't know what I was going to do with this plant, but I thought, well, I already was going to repot it, so I should probably just continue to repot it. And I have spray, so just treat it, repot it. You don't have to trash it and like try to restart with a cutting. I was planning on making the most like drastic decision and just getting rid of it, but I just got it, so I really didn't want to have to do that. That's going to be the end of today's video. We ended up repotting, I think, 8 or 9 plants together. I'm not entirely sure on the number. It was pretty eventful. We dealt with some spiders. We did spider mite treatment. We had gnats in the soil. We had slimy yellow mold. Like, it was a very chaotic, pest-filled repot video, which I was not expecting at all. I thought this was going to be a very sit down, film this for a few hours and just hang out with me, be chill, be relaxed. Like, that was the overall vibe I was wanting to go for, but it is what it is. Plant keeping is, things happen. That's what I love. Your plants are going to keep you on your toes for sure. I have a big mess to clean up, but I had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys and just repotting these new plants that I bought, and like took you guys with me during that process too. So it feels just very full circle now that they're in my own soil mix. It feels like they're finally a part of my collection. It feels good to get that done, and now I'm honestly ready to go hit the nursery again and bring home more plants. If you enjoyed hanging out with me during this repot session, leave a like and subscribe if you want to keep watching me and my plant collection grow. I post every Thursday, so until next week, keep growing. Bye! Blossom's first day! Hi, pretty girl! Little Blossom. Good morning. Blossom. Blossom. Hi, pretty girl. Hi, pretty girl. This is Blossom. Blossom, say hi. Say hi. You want to say hi? Oh. This is Blossom. Oh, hi, baby. Hi. Blossom. Blossom.